hadn't meant to wound him. Besides, who wouldn't hire Victor? And the jeweller was an old friend of his mother's. The man would surely find some way to keep Victor on.
I have faith in you.
Victor looked only slightly mollified by her words.
You're fretting over something, I can tell. Don't be silly.
Had she been that transparent? Oh, Lord, she had to get him to leave before she gave too much away. She forced hoarseness into her voice.
And if you don't go, you'll be late.
His shift began at 8 p.m. when the jeweller went home.
Don't worry about me. I'm in good hands with Jacoba.
She practically choked on that lie. But he didn't seem to notice as he tucked the covers about her.
I'll come fetch you in the morning when I'm done with my shift, Mausie.
She winced at the German endearment. Victor often used foreign words. He spoke Dutch, Flemish, German, English, and French fluently, which impressed her, but she didn't like being called Little Mouse. Probably because she was a mouse in every respect. She looked like one. Nondescript brown hair that defied curling, boring brown eyes, and hips that were a touch too wide for her small bosom. And she acted like one, too. She would much rather cut diamonds or design jewellery than argue or make a fuss. It was how she'd landed in this mess in the first place. It was also why she lay here silent while he headed for the door. She ought to call him back, tell him the truth, face the consequences. But it would be so much easier just to bluff her way through this night. Then she'd be free of her family's machinations forever. Because she was never creating another imitation parure. She wouldn't have made this one if Jacoba and Gerhard hadn't convinced her that they could sell it as a legitimate copy and earn some good money out of her talent for creating false diamonds. If she'd known they would take it into their heads to use it to commit a crime. Stifling a groan, she turned onto her side and watched as Victor went out with Jacoba into the hall, murmuring instructions on how to care for his wife. He was so handsome, her husband, and so kind. She lived in terror that he would find out about the Hendricks' sordid plans and her part in them. Her throat tightened. How had she even managed to snag his attention? He was a lion to her mouse. His many scars told her that he'd suffered a great deal during his 3 years in the Prussian army, and the pain of fighting at Waterloo still lurked beneath his clear hazel eyes. She suspected he had other dark secrets. He didn't talk about his childhood or his family, yet he took each day as it came, persevering through whatever agonies lay in his past. Meanwhile, she lay here pretending to be sick. Oh, what she wouldn't give to be courageous and reckless, to stand up to Gerhard whenever he droned on about how he'd saved her and Jacoba from certain ruin after Papa died. It was true, but why should it mean that she had to risk her own happiness and safety? And why couldn't she just say that? Because then Gerhard would shout at her, and shout at Jacoba, and she hated the shouting, and the stony glances, and the reminders that she wouldn't even have a position at the jeweller's if Gerhard hadn't encouraged the talent for jewellery making and diamond cutting that she'd inherited from Papa. She sighed against her pillow.
"So you're not asleep,"
Jacoba said, having padded back into the room with the quiet tread of a cat.
Isa tensed. "No, not yet, but I feel horrible, all weak and achy, and my throat hurts."
Tamping down her guilt, she slanted a glance up at her sister, who, being 7 years older, had been like a mother to her. Once. Jacoba laid her hand on Isa's brow.
"You do seem a bit hot."
That's what came of lying under a pile of heavy covers, though she prayed that the dampness of her brow wouldn't give her away.
"I can't get warm," she lied in a husky whisper. "It always